Give us a little bit of a history of your bit of your work history.
Sure. I started off in the North Sea as a roustabout. I went up the ranks from roustabout to driller in the UK, southern North Sea, central and northern, so up and down the coast of the UK, if you like.
Always on drilling vessels?
Yes.
Okay.
I then...
And how long a period of time was that?
That was from 1990 to approximately 97, end of 97, beginning of 98.
By the way, how old are you today?
I'm 39.
Okay. And so you started work at what age?
18.
And then what did you do?
Then I came to the Gulf of Mexico.
And then you came to the Gulf of Mexico in about August of 2009?
That's correct.
As a rig manager?
Yes.
Now we've talked a lot about the September 2009 audit that BP conducted the Deepwater Horizon, right?
Yeah.
How do you know that the number of overdue or undone maintenance items had actually been completed, such that you had only 25 remaining?
Okay. Yeah. Well, as I said earlier on, you look at this report. We put the action items into a spreadsheet so you could see, and then we assigned responsibilities to each item. We went through every item line by line as a team. Mm-hmm. And then weekly we would meet up and discuss the action items, and then we would discuss each action item. Yes, James did this, or Stephen did that, and this is what they've done, and it's closed out now, and we'd put a closeout date next to the action item.
So at the end of this process, say in March of 2010, you still had 25 items undone, but some verification had been made that most of the items had been completed.
To the form. Yeah, the majority of the items, the number I don't recall now, was signed off and verified, and there was the outstanding items that were still to be complete. There was an action plan in place, agreed by all parties, and we were making progress to close them out.
Did BP ever relay to you, sir, that it was allowing the rig to go back into service even though it believed it was in an unsafe condition?
Nobody really relayed that to me, no.
As far as your experiences and understanding as they relate to BP and your interactions with them, do you have an understanding whether BP was satisfied enough that the rig would operate in a safe condition despite having certain unresolved issues identified in the audit?
Yes, there were, because we had meetings and that. It wasn't just a send in the sheet and they said, okay. We sat down and had a discussion and went through the action items and what was outstanding. That was with myself and John Guide and his team, and then I had a sit-down meeting with John Guide's boss and explained to him where we were with everything. He reviewed and he accepted that he was happy for us to go back to work.
So to the best of your recollection, within a 6-month period, Transocean had closed out approximately 80 to 85% of the items identified in the BP audit?
Yes, we'd closed out all of the items, but we didn't just rest there. We had an action plan in place for the remaining items, and we communicated that to BP frequently, the status of them open items.
Did you ever receive any feedback from BP personnel regarding Transocean's efforts to close out audit items?
Yes, I did.
Could you tell me what the nature of that feedback was, Mr. Johnson?
We received very positive feedback from BP on our approach to handling the issues, closing them out, and communicating to BP. They were very satisfied with our performance on the action items.
From who did you receive BP, that type of feedback from BP?
We received written feedback from Angel Rodriguez, and I sat and met regularly with Angel, Brett Cacalis, John and Joe Newmeyer, and they were all equally pleased.
Did BP ever criticize the response time of the Transocean personnel after the kick in March?
No, they didn't, not to me. I mean, I specifically asked the question to my rig team, and they said no. I was informed that the BP offshore group were fine with the response.
And do you know the facts surrounding the shut-in of the well in response to that kick on March 8th?
I think I have an understanding of it.
Do you know how many barrels of fluid was lost through that kick?
Gained,
Gained.
30 barrels, I believe.
And do you know how much time passed between the first indication of a kick and when the well was shut in?
No, I don't.
You have no information that there were 30 minutes that passed from the time of the first indication of a kick and when the well was shut in?
No, I didn't, but to clarify that, I asked the question, you get up in the morning, we look at the numbers, I asked the team, 30 barrels, what happened, and they told me, the driller spotted the a change in the drilling parameters on ECD, so he spotted it early, and through his process of shutting down, checking, seeing if there was flow and closing it in, and then by the time the flow line had equalized and all the rest of it, we'd taken the 30 barrels. So I understood that, and that was okay, and I could understand the dynamics around that. And then I asked, was everybody happy? And the rig team was happy. And then I asked if the BP offshore team were happy, and a response back was yes, they were happy.
Based on your review of the facts surrounding the March 8th kick, it was your opinion that the Transocean rig crew had responded properly and appropriately to the kick of March 8th?
Yes.
Was there anyone at Transocean that disputed that felt that the Transocean rig crew had not responded properly?
Not that I'm aware of.
Have you had any conversations with John Guy relating to the March 8th kick?
Well, that morning I went to the BP office to the morning call, and there was a lot of people in there. There were, people from Tiger team, and I think Wild Well Control was in there at that point, I'm not sure. And we talked about it, and he was also fine with the drill crew's response, and he actually conveyed that to the people in the room.
John Guy didn't make any comments that he felt that the Transocean rig crew had not responded appropriately with respect to the March 8th kick?
Not at all.
A couple of more questions about these morning meetings that you attended with BP personnel. Mm-hmm. Did you ever hear any discussion about the number of centralizers to be used in the Macondo well?
No, I did not.
Were you ever made aware of any disagreements amongst BP personnel about the centralizer issues?
No, I was not.
Was that ever discussed, as far as you recall, in these morning calls?
No.